Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Industrial action at a Burnie cheese factory could be the beginning of a fight to bring wage parity to Tasmania. Saputo maintenance workers have been waging a 9-month battle to be paid the same as workers in rural Victoria, and unions claim this case is just the tip of the iceberg.
No more! No more!
Walking out midway through their shift for the 7th time in a month, the maintenance crew downs tools again, claiming to be paid more than a fifth less than those working the same roles on the mainland.
It's just another message that these guys are determined to reach their 21.5%.
But this strike is different. From health and education to plumbing and electrical, representatives from other unions are there cheering them on because the issue of pay disparity is not unique.
There are multiple companies, dozens of them, many occupations in the private and public sector where workers are not paid the same as their mainland counterparts.
It seems this is just the beginning. The fight could soon spread to other industries.
It is definitely a lightning rod for other workers and groups of workers to look at what's happening in their workplace and say it's not good enough.
Saputo has told us it's committed to continuing negotiations in good faith to reach an agreement, but these workers say they won't be budging.
We're prepared to hold out till Christmas if that's what they want. We'll increase the intensity of the campaign till this company understand that we are a skilled workforce that are absolutely deserve to be paid the same as Victoria and anywhere else.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Plans for Tasmania's 5th urgent care clinic are now locked in. The facility is expected to cure some of the pressures on our public health system, but the state government says we need 5 more to meet demand.
An immunity boost expected to lighten the load on emergency departments.
Patients would prefer to be seen in general practice. Emergency departments are noisy, overwhelming environments where quite often for people who are vulnerable is not the best place for them to be seen.
Bridgewater, one of 29 locations nationwide, next in line for a new bulk build urgent care clinic.
People from the northern suburbs more generally, we know how badly affected they are by chronic health conditions, and this will give them access to emergency, non-life-threatening emergency care.
There are currently 4 clinics statewide set to receive budget funding, with 1 in Launceston, Devonport and 2 in Hobart. Liverpool Street takes in 30 patients per day.
About 80% of those people would have gone to the emergency department if they had not received care in the urgent care clinic.
But there are calls for more. The state government arguing at least 4 additional urgent care clinics are needed in areas like Sorell and Kingston.
NDIS, aged care and primary care in the community supported by Medicare are all federal government responsibilities, and when they fail, the impact is felt by patients.
This is part of a $28 million package. Tasmania receives more than its fair share in population terms out of the funding.
The Commonwealth is also set to check up on the state government, negotiating extended opening hours for all urgent care clinics. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
State Labor is backing calls for an education review, lamenting our woeful Year 12 retention rate. But it hasn't got universal backing, as the Teachers Union blames a school funding shortfall.
The toughest crowd a new opposition leader can face.
Yeah, you're bold. And I'm bold.
Dean Winter's focus on the jobs of the future, taking him to meet the workforce of the future.
It's an echidna.
And putting Tasmania's lagging education outcomes in the spotlight.
We still have retention rates in Tasmania at around 53%, which is far too low. So it's time for us to accept that there's a problem, that our education system is underperforming and that we need to change.
Fed up with endless reviews, the Education Union just wants schools to be funded properly.
How are we going to have a review that looks at what our educators have been doing in schools when they've been doing it with one arm tied behind their back?
We're doubling down on our investment, in particular in the area of literacy, with a dedicated focus on the science of reading and phonics.
Touring what will soon be Launceston's new Northern Suburbs Community Recreation Hub, the Deputy Premier says it will fill the gap in sporting facilities.
Basketball courts and netball courts, which as we all know are terribly overdue because of the growth in those sports.
MPs head back into State Parliament tomorrow, with the Greens moving to decriminalise begging. Their previous attempts have failed, but they're hoping the new mix of members might allow the bill to pass this time.
Begging was made a crime in 1935 during the Great Depression. It has no place to still be criminalised in a modern and empathetic Tasmania.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
There has been a highly anticipated and welcome arrival on King Island. Critical bales of much-needed hay have reached the island and are beginning to be distributed to drought-stricken farmers. The boatload of feed and fodder has been donated by Victorian counterparts. The delivery of the emergency feed comes after the island experienced its driest February and March in more than 100 years. The finishing touches are being put on a brand new social housing development in Ulverston. The 48 2- and 3-bedroom homes, many with ocean views, will soon welcome families off the priority housing wait list. It will go a small way. More than 5,000 Tasmanians are currently waiting for a home.
This is just the start. We want to see a lot more of these right across Tasmania and indeed right across the country.
The first tenants should start moving in by August. A burst water main has turned a busy Launceston street into a river. The flooding forcing a large section of Waverley Road to close for much of the day as crews work to mop up the mess. Taswater says due to the scale of the burst, it expects the road will be significantly damaged. Once water subsides, a full assessment will be undertaken before repair works get underway. The exact cause is yet to be determined. Red Cross Lifeblood has issued an urgent plea for more blood donors, with reserve supplies running dangerously low across the country. Tasmanians of all blood types are being encouraged to roll up their sleeves to help out.
It doesn't take long to donate blood, just an hour and a half of your time, but you can save up to 3 lives and make a difference to someone else in need.
Donations can be made at Lifeblood centres in Hobart, Devonport, Burnie and Launceston. Celebrations are underway across the state for hundreds of thousands of selfless Tasmanians. Today marking the start of National Volunteer Week, shining a spotlight on those who give back to their communities.
It's a small act of service, but it has a huge impact.
So they bring us together. They're the glue, the absolute glue of our fabric.
Today marking the start of National Volunteer Week to celebrate those who give up their own time to make a difference in their community.
We have over 300,000 volunteers in Tasmania. Each and every one of them are completely vital to the well-being and the thriving communities in Tasmania.
John Dalton among the thousands doing his bit for the community, trying to foster mateship through books and beers.
We've got groups meeting up to talk about books every month, all over the country, all over the world now in fact.
The Tough Guys Book Club aims to attract bookworms to talk and make friends.
Realising that I could lend a hand to something that was just a personal interest to me.
35,000 Tasmanians have signed up to help out in the past 5 years, many choosing to donate their time to smaller outfits instead of bigger organisations.
Always looking to help somebody, always looking to make their communities safer, more vibrant, better places to be.
With our volunteers saying there's always a space for new helpers. Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
A stalwart of the local music scene is notching up a rare milestone today, marking a whopping 50 years on the job. The much-loved Barrett's music store worker reflecting on her career as she prepares to hit the final note and call it a day.
Cheryl Masters loves her job, so much so she's been walking through the doors of Barrett's Music for 5 decades. Even today, she's still in tune with the business.
We certainly had some ups and downs during those 50 years, but overall I've enjoyed the work.
From those buying their first instrument to the seasoned professionals, Cheryl's been a familiar face on the other side of the counter.
She's been invaluable to the benefit of the business and to the benefit of musicians in Launceston and beyond.
But despite spending half a century in the industry, she's not a music buff herself, never fully taking to an instrument.
I've thought at times that I might take up something, but you never know, when I retire I might do.
Her real passion lying in the print music section.
Sort of been my baby for the last 30 years or so, and I've really enjoyed making that grow.
Cheryl's been involved in that for many, many years. She's recognised all around the country for the quality of her work.
Cheryl's now preparing to call time on her career, bidding a fond farewell, closing out this chapter of her songbook.
The people, the customers, the colleagues, that's what I'll miss the most, not the work.
Leaving time to say thank you for the music. Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
To the TSL now, and having won 6 games out of 7, thrashing their main rival and rubbing shoulders with an AFL legend, Clarence's young guns are on a high. Ollie Preshaw says playing alongside Jack Riewoldt in Friday night's 7-goal win was an experience he won't forget anytime soon.
Too overawed, and going to the game, you try to act business as usual, but everyone would have been lying if they said they weren't pretty excited.
Riewoldt hasn't ruled out playing more games with the Roos this year. No votes for Riewoldt though in the Cripps Player of the Year. Ollie Preshaw taking top honours for Clarence. North Launceston's Alex Lee, the 3-vote winner in the crosstown thumping of Launceston, while Riley Ashland takes a 3 for Kinborough against North Hobart. Cricket Tasmania's new talent and development boss is eyeing off the next generation of players to represent Tasmania and Australia. South African Greg Hector joins the organisation after 25 years in Cape Town with the Stormers rugby union side.
I think there's quite a bit of crossover in terms of talent ID. I do come from a cricketing background back in my youth.
Improving coach development across the community and club level is one of his first targets. A not-out half-century from Tassie Tiger Beau Webster off 51 balls has helped put his county cricket side Gloucestershire in the driver's seat. Webster also taking 1 for 33, including 8 maiden overs as they forced to follow on against Leicestershire, who trailed by 300 runs after day 3. King Island runner Stuart McSwain is heading to Paris, booking his qualification while blitzing his own personal best over 5,000 metres. He placed 10th in the race at the LA Grand Prix, but it was fast enough to qualify. And at pole position after a lap record around Carco Raceway, Launceston driver Adam Garwood has claimed his first Touring Car Masters win, finishing just ahead of Ryan Hansford in race 3 in Perth and claiming top points for the round. Leading from start to finish in the final, Stoveport's Seton Broom Hall has claimed the king of the paddock at the Barry Richardson Memorial Grass Track Series. 220 riders of all ages were tearing around the track over the weekend in the second round at Quamby Brook outside Deloraine. And Tassie basketballer Alana Smith continues to shine in the WNBA, landing 16 points for the Minnesota Lynx in their 9-point double overtime win over Seattle.
Good evening. Well, it was a pretty cold start today. Hobart scrambled to 13 degrees later, Launceston 15. Devonport and Flinders Island our top with 16 today, and Burnie recorded 14. Lyawini the low with -5 as temperatures sat below average. King Island, Smithton, Low Head and St Helens all 15. Bushy Park 14. Friendly Beaches and Grove 13. Strawn a top of 12. Mostly clear skies as well, adding to the long-term below average rainfall statistics. Just a bit of cloud over the southern parts of the state. More low clouds spotted over Victoria and coastal parts of South Australia and New South Wales. Higher cloud over southwest WA and far north Queensland. Tomorrow, a large, slow-moving high will be centred over Adelaide, extending a ridge over the whole country, apart from the far west coast. Winds pushing over from the west-southwest tomorrow at 10 to 15 knots, but to 20 knots over southern waters, a 3-metre swell in the west and south. And a frost warning for below zero temperatures for parts of the central North Midlands and upper Derwent Valley first thing in the morning. Tuesday in Hobart, cloudy, warming up to 15 degrees, 14 for Adventure Bay, a morning frost for Tarraleah, a top of 10 later on. Launceston, a high of 15 after a frosty start, 14 for Devonport, a sunny day for Bridport and 15 the maximum. Burnie expecting 14 degrees, cloudy for Strawn, 13 the maximum, 14 the high for Marrawar. St Helens tomorrow, a top of 14 degrees, partly cloudy for Swansea, 14 as well, and 15 on Flinders Island. On to Wednesday now, and sunny over the north, partly cloudy elsewhere apart from a shower over the west and King Island. Showers moving over most of the state on Thursday, not much for the north or northwest, and on Friday back to a generally fine, partly cloudy day across the state. 27 and mostly sunny in Perth, 17 the top for Adelaide. Melbourne, a cool day with a shower on the way there. Showers easing from Sydney, 24 and partly cloudy in Brisbane. And partly cloudy in Hobart right now, 8 degrees, 7 in Launceston and Devonport. And that's the weather for the start of National Volunteering Week, Kim. Of course, we raise our glasses to those who give up all their spare time to help others in need. As you know, around here I do lots of volunteering.
Volunteering of information I don't think counts, but yes, that is all your news for now. We'll have news, sport and weather updates throughout the night. Thanks for your company. Good night, everyone.